Now, something that we've already seen is that everything inside Unity is an object, or we say a game object. So if I go to game object, 3D object, and I add a sphere, now this is another game object. I have added two game objects. Now I do have the camera and the lights that are also game objects, but they are different beasts on their own. The majority of objects will be other types than camera and lights, and that's the ones you're going to be using the most. Now, having said that, you have to understand that Unity works just like C#, meaning that everything is an object, and that works perfectly with Unity, and it's great for us because that's how we work in the real world. In the real world, we think of everything as being an object. Whenever you have a bed, we think of a bed as being an object that has attributes to it. A bed has a pillow, bed sheets, a color, and all things like this. Then now you have also a football player. A football player has a helmet. It has a number, a name, and so on. And all of these are considered being objects. So same thing here. When you add an enemy or a main character or an object like a sword or a shield, all of these are considered game objects. Now, a game object can be made of multiple game objects, such as, let's say, a warrior can be made of a helmet, a sword, and also a shield, right? So, but it's still part of the warrior character. Having said that, all of this is game objects, and within MonoDevelop, whenever you open a script, everything is also a game object. And right now we open the testing script that's attached to the cube game object. So add comments here by adding 2 backslashes. And when you see that in gray, that means that it's not going to be used by the system. The system is not going to see that these 2 lines exist. Okay, so remember, 2 backslashes in front of it. Now, what you want to do is, let's say, display the name of this specific game object. So since everything is a game object, how would you want to be able to use this game object? That's very simple. You say this, meaning that you want to target this specific object that has this script attached, okay? And put this dot, and you put name, for example. And this would access the name. But you have more than just the name. You can do this dot, and look at all the P. All the P that you see here are the properties, so anything that has properties. And M are methods or actions. So as you can see, you can have enabled, you have game object, hide flags, name, tag, very important, the transforms such as the position, rotation, and scale. And as you can see, the ones that are crossed are the ones that are not going to be used by these. Okay? So as you can see, we can access to all of these properties. Now, how do you want to display the name of this object? You already know that. You can do debug.log to display to the console, open the parentheses, and do this dot name, and close the parentheses, put a semicolon at the end, save that, and go back to Unity. And now press play, and look at the console, and there you go. It says cube. Now, I want you to do something. Click on the cube, double click on it, or right click and click on rename, and rename it cube renamed. Okay, press enter. Now press play, and there it is inside of the console. It said that the name is cube renamed. Now what I want you to do is go inside of the inspector, select the cube, and change its tag. Select tag and say player. Okay, so now the tag associated to this is the player. Now go back to MonoDevelop, and here type debug.log, and what are we gonna do? Display the tag, this.tag. All right, put a semicolon at the end, save this, and now go back, press play, and here you go. It says cube renamed player. All right. So far, so good. Now, what I'm going to show you is how to chain this. How do we do that? If you want to have the name and the tag on the same line, how do you do this? Well, just remove these 2 lines and do debug.log, and we're going to log this dot name plus this dot tag. All right, press add a parenthesis and a semicolon at the end. All right, now do file save and that will concatenate them or append them to each other. Go back to Unity, press play, and here are the results. Cube renamed player. Now, as you can see, there is no space in between because we never said to want a space in between. So how do you do that? It's pretty straightforward. Go back to monodevelop, and right here, after the plus, in between the name and the tag, we're going to add a space. So plus, open a double quote, add one space, close the double quote, and put another plus. So now we are adding three different things: the name, the white space, and the tag. All right, save this, and go back to Unity, press play, and here it is, cube renamed player. All right, so go ahead and play with all the properties that you have here. Another interesting one is the game object. So let me show you. I want you to go ahead and play with the game object, debug.log, and you can do this dot game object dot, and here you can use some properties. I'm going to use the position, so dot transform dot position, and let's look at the position dot the x-axis. Okay, dot toString, because the x-axis is a number and a log needs text. So when you do toString, you transform the decimal number into a number. Close the semicolon and put a semicolon and a parenthesis also. All right. So remember, you need these two parentheses extra because these are for the toString action. Okay. And this one is closing this parenthesis. All right. Save this. Go back to Unity and press play. And now let's take a look at it. All right, there you go. This is the position 4.099. Now, can you verify if that's true or not? Absolutely. If you look at the cube renamed inside of the inspector, you see the position that's 4.009. Okay. Now, if you change the position here, let's say you put it at 2. All right. And now I press play. What do you see here? Position 2. All right. So as you can see, it takes the right position there. Perfect. All right. So go ahead, keep playing with this. Try to show the actual rotation and the scale in the debug.